Resident Evil, the first movie released in 2002, is based on the popular video game known as the same name, and stars Mila Jovovich and Michelle Rodriguez as members of a team who break into an underground facility known as the Hive. It is there where they realize not all is as it seems. A terrible incident occurs when a virus, known as the T-virus, was released which wiped out all of the lab personnel and turned them into flesh-eating zombies. This movie was honestly pretty good. I actually enjoyed it. Many people say that the Resident Evil movies suck and to just play the games, but I still wanted to watch all of them anyway because I really did not care. It's the experience of watching these movies that count. I really did not care if the movie was really bad or really good, and I was going in not really expecting much. Normally, I don't really like watching older movies because I feel like most of the time they're different or worse than the movies we know and love today, both visually and story-wise, simply because they just didn't have the technologies back then, and you could really tell in this movie. Some of the CGI of the monsters was really bad. There were a lot of cheap jump scares towards the beginning of the movie, and the sound and visual effects were equally as bad. The beginning of this movie was very boring and felt like it dragged on for way too long, and it was very confusing at times. There wasn't a lot of gore at all, which was not what I was expecting going into this movie. Most of the time when you expect to see something like that, like the elevator scene, it just cuts to black. But I like how in the beginning of the movie you are kind of thrown into this movie and basically feel like Mila Jovovich's character, Alice, not really knowing what's going on. Then you gradually get to learn more and more about why something happens later on in the movie. Even though there are some plot holes and we don't get to learn Alice's backstory as much as I would have liked, the movie isn't messy, the story isn't convoluted, and that is enough for me. This movie had a very simple story and I liked it. It was interesting, it kept me entertained, it kept me captivated throughout the whole of the movie. It kind of defines the earlier Resident Evil games, because this movie did feel very survival horror-like. The characters were all trying to survive in this very confined and isolated environment. I know the backstory behind Resident Evil, but I have never played or seen any of the older Resident Evil games. So I don't really know how much of a resemblance this movie or any of the other movies were to the games. But I'll assume that there isn't much because this is a movie adaptation that is very loosely based on the games. In this movie there are some very minor references such as the T-virus. We also got to saw the lickers and the zombie dogs, which was also pretty cool. Furthermore, I think the acting was honestly pretty decent. Michelle Rodriguez's character was very over the top, but Mila Jovovich did really good. The plot twist was unexpected and I also really enjoyed the ending too. I think it does a great job at setting up the sequel, with her just busting out of the hospital and seeing this post-apocalyptic town once known as Raccoon City. I liked how this movie hinted Nemesis as well. That was pretty sweet. This movie tries to be emotional at times between the characters, but I don't think it really works that well because I feel like they don't know each other well enough to get all emotional about. But yeah, no, I actually really enjoy this movie. Well, actually not really enjoy the movie. I kind of liked it because it was a lot better than I thought it would be going into this. It was definitely entertaining. I'm going to rate Resident Evil 2002 a B-. So Resident Evil the movie, have you seen it or not? Did you like it or did you hate it? Please leave a comment on your thoughts about the movie below. Leave a like if you liked the video and please drop a sub to help the channel. And if you haven't already, please check out my previous video. Until next time.